Outbound webhooks in Shape are a tool that are used to connect Shape to as many different tools as needed. I would categorize webhooks as kind of an advanced feature, but those that have used webhooks in the past will find it extremely easy. But all a webhook is when something happens in Shape, we can use a webhook to send that data to somewhere else. It can be an Excel sheet, it can be Zapier, it can be to a different platform. All options are on the table when it comes to using outbound webhooks to send data out of Shape. You can use a new webhook, just start completely from scratch, or you may already have some webhooks set up, just kind of giving you a good starting point depending on what you're looking to connect. I'm going to say this is a new webhook. All you'll do is give that webhook a title. So I'm going to just say, something simple like example webhook. You'll have your post method for post or get. Your URL, this will be the URL that you're sending data to. If you're not sure what this is, then you can ask the other software that you're connecting what URL you need to send data to. And then are we sending fields or are we sending files? So this depends. Files would be like if you have our customer portal and you want to send documents from Shape out, you can do so using a file. But if it's field data like their name, their email, their phone number, their loan amount, etc., you can use the field option. Then you'll have headers. Headers will depend on the other platform that you're sending data to. If they have headers that are required, you can think of it as kind of a deadbolt on a door. So when you put a header in, whether it's an API key or something similar, then they will give you the headers so that you can get the data into the other platform. I'll go back here and show you an example of one that is already set up. We'll say create a lead in HubSpot. Here's where we have a URL for HubSpot, and here's where we would have any headers if needed. Just add as many headers as they require. Again, if you're not sure, just ask. They will let you know front and center if there are headers required to get data in. Then the payload type can be JSON or form. I would say JSON is pretty common, but just depending, they will let you know what type of data it needs to be. Then you'll have your data mapping down below. This is where you actually set what data you actually want to capture from Shape and send to the other platform. You'll just hit the add mapping. This middle one is going to be the Shape data point that you want. So we already have lead ID and first name. Let's say we want last name as well. Over here on the left where it says data, this is going to be the mapping for the platform that you're sending data to. They will give you a list of mappings. All this means is the last name and Shape. This is the label that it needs to go to in the other platform in order to populate correctly. So again, they will give you a list of data mappings. Their data mappings go here. The Shape field you want goes here. And then you have a default value that you can put in. This one's not the most common, but if it is a static value that needs to be the same all the time, like an API key, a certain header, a certain format, certain ID, then you can always add that as a mapping and put in a default value. That way, every time the webhook fires, this data is always the same. Whereas a last name, a first name, a lead ID, those are always going to be different because we're pulling them from the actual record. If you have any questions at all on how to set up a webhook, anything that we can help with, don't hesitate to reach out to help@setshape.com. Our team is more than happy to clarify on anything and help you get this set up as well. Now let's discuss how to initiate a webhook. Like now we know how to set it up, but how do we actually send it, right? And there's a couple of options. I'm going to open two options here. One is going to be drip campaigns and one is going to be your triggers. So in your drip campaigns, I'm just going to open one up here. You'll have a webhook step. You can add this into any workflow so that at a certain point during that campaign, it can webhook this data wherever it needs to go. All you do is select webhook and then choose the one that you want to go out. It can be whichever one you have set up and then just simply hit save. That's going to add it to the workflow, and you just click and drag and put that in whatever point makes sense for it to be. If it's on day 1, day 10, day 100, it doesn't matter. You just set what date you want that to go out. I'm going to go ahead and remove that step. The other method is going to be in a trigger. I would say this is probably second most common other than a drip campaign. And the trigger type is going to be what you want to happen in Shape to trigger this webhook to go. Most commonly, it's going to be status based. So when they reach the status of attempting contact, I want Shape to initiate an outbound webhook, and this is the webhook I want to go out. Then you just give it a name, set a schedule for when you want it to go out. Most commonly, it's going to be right away, but sometimes you may want to delay that by a certain amount of time, just depending on what your goal is for the webhook from there. There is a third method for sending a webhook, and it's going to be through a bulk action. So if you're on a list view and you want to webhook a bunch of people at once, you can individually select people on the left or use bulk actions to select maybe the entire list if you just want to send everybody. And then click bulk actions one more time, scroll down, and you'll find initiate webhook. And then you can just simply select the one that you want to go. When you hit save, it'll ask you to confirm. You just hit yes, and it'll initiate that webhook from there. If you guys have any follow-up questions on outbound webhooks, anything that we can do to clarify, don't hesitate to reach out to help@setshape.com.